Did you notice that when Morty meets Kate Micucci, the blue jelly alien future ex-girlfriend, that this guy steals sunglasses in the background while she's distracted? So every few years I've ended up doing a full rewatch of Rick and Morty. Well, every few years might not be exactly true, but I've done it like 3 or maybe 4 times. Been on the air since 2013, which is 13 years. Maybe 5-6 times now. Granted, the first time was just the first 3 seasons, but that's only the point for now, because I'm gonna move on to a point that's an actual point, but ironically, it won't even be the main point yet. But it was my lunchtime show for a few months this spring. You know how sometimes when you sit down for 7 to 13 minutes to eat, you just don't want to start something new, and since I've seen every episode already, it's familiar and light and fluffy. No recurring incest storylines to make you feel weird.
Summer!
Hey there, stranger.
Incest, baby.
No discussions of minors' genitalia or 9/11 jokes.
So you did a 9/11.
Almost did a 9/11. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 never happened. 11 9/11s.
Oh, 9/11.
9/11. What's wrong with that? That doesn't sound like a problem to me.
Not even several rape jokes.
The pirates are really rapey. You know, it'll be really easy to rape us after that.
Never a moment that will make you question everything or send you into an existential spiral, right?
There is no God, Summer. Gotta rip that Band-Aid off now. You'll thank me later.
You ever notice Rick tacitly loves the idiom, no atheist in a foxhole?
Oh, sweet Jesus, please let me live. Please, God in heaven. Please, God, oh Lord, hear my prayers. Yes, I did it. There is no God in your face.
Anyway, during this current rewatch, I decided around season 5-ish that even though I didn't start this rewatch for content, I probably have enough thoughts rattling around in my dome that I should get them out into a video for my sanity, and so that you can all scream at your phone, yes, I've been saying this, and then type that in the comments as well. And also, like, subscribe or something. I don't know. I like when number goes up. But it was actually back in my season 1 rewatch that my original premise started. But it's not actually the premise anymore, and we're still on the pre-point, so it's the pre-point pre-premise, which was, I don't really like Justin Roiland's improv anymore.
It's like I'm trying to eat a Slim Slam.
I mean, I don't like the 13-year-old improv he made back then for stuff like Interdimensional Cable. I laughed in 2013 for sure, but now on an Nth rewatch, it just feels off, lazy even.
Quicker!
With the arm of fake doors in your arm.
Okay, you can change it.
Like, it was funny then. I remember thinking it was funny, or was it more just, that's clever. Don't get me wrong, the pilot has some scripted and improvised moments that are still groundbreaking.
Gotta get out of here. You're tugging me too hard.
Rick's rant at the end works because it's clear that he's drunk and just coming up with stuff off the top of his head.
Rick and Morty forever and forever, 100 years. Rick and Morty's things. Oh, 100 days. Rick and Morty forever, 100 times.
And the jokes are solid.
You know what I named these? My little Mortys. You know what I want you to do with them.
Rename them?
Threads of what make the show awesome are in that pilot, and probably why the comedy works for a lot of us as neurospicy people. Subversion being a big factor, which Roiland really excelled at in those early episodes, just stunning us with stupid nonsense.
From now on, it's gonna be 100% honesty.
Frank Palicki was frozen to death today.
No idea what you're talking about.
Now look, Justin Roiland is no longer involved, and everything I've read or seen tweets of headlines about is that his creative influence may have been somewhat overstated. I'm not out here to defame anyone, so let's just say allegedly overstated. But the one thing I can all but guarantee was 100% Roiland is the improv. Or should we call it poo-prov? Impoo. And yes, I will call it that because that's the level it's at.
The glurp zone is for florping and unglurping only.
So I told him, give me the blemfarks.
That's the amount of effort that went into the names of things he improvised on the spot. And look, I suck at improv. I'll be the first to admit my entire channel is one big lie with me coming up with funny stuff on the spot. LOL. I'm bad live. I can think quickly in writing, just ask my Slack friends. But with the words coming out my mouth? Nah, bro, I'll freeze up. It's why I keep putting off that podcast I obviously have to do at some point. I'm a white guy with a microphone. But I'm not making entire episodes of TV shows based on my silly little names for things. And my buddy and I have talked about this, and I think he's right that much of the appeal of those early seasons, I'd even go so far as to say one of the main reasons Rick and Morty took off was because of that, probably intentionally, crappy improv. It was chaotic and surprising. You'd find yourself dropping your jaw because something so stupid made it into the final cut.
Real turbulent juice is coming, and you gotta take care of it.
But my hot take now, it's a pretty cold take, is that he could have put just a skosh more effort into it. There's a fine line between that Gilmore Girls style fast talking dialogue that no humans are actually capable of and whatever the Two Brothers bit is.
In a van from an asteroid and all sorts of things, the movie.
But hey, whatever. If the raw improv still works for you, I'm jealous because it's funny. It's just become my least favorite part at this point, especially when Roiland breaks right at the end because he knows how stupid it is.
Two brothers. It's just called Two Brothers.
To be fair, that made it even funnier the first time through, so this is a very specific, niche, nitpicky complaint, and I will not apologize for being a brat. And really, if you paid attention to the behind-the-scenes stuff at all, you already know that Roiland and Harmon hate canon. Rick pokes fun at it multiple times as their surrogate.
Let's have dinner with the Morty president. Morty, the idea was to get back to simple adventures. The Citadel runs on canon.
In fact, there was never a plan to bring evil Morty back, but then we all went and ate it up. You could argue that we, the fans, changed the trajectory of the show from a dude riffing on the mic while the animators tried to keep up, to a multi-layered D&D campaign with our favorite recurring characters changing the course of the show multiple times and opening up the questions about life and death and the meaning of existence.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die.
And also, fart jokes. So if there's any explanation for bad improv, it's that. It was the plan. And I know that I'm being a brat about it because at some point, everything is improvised in a writer's room when everyone is pitching, right? But some jokes keep the tight structure of an initial pitch and feel like pure gold.
An actual army and an air force and Marines. Slow down, Morty. Walk us through every military service. Does somebody have a pen?
That stuff is brilliant. Honestly, there are a few jokes from season 4 and onward that are some of the best in the series because the show is smart, just not for the reasons that copypasta has popularized. Which brings me to what I see as the best part of the show overall, and what I'm always going to be a total sucker for in basically everything I consume: canon. I got to season 8 nearing the end of my rewatch, and I hit episode 6, the Curicksous case of Bethjamin button, and it has this line.
My mouth tastes so clean. Whoa, my knuckles work. No pain.
It's been a thing I've referenced to my wife Julia multiple times, even though she doesn't watch the show. It just stuck with me because it's so true. And not in a I don't take care of myself so everything is falling apart kind of way, although there is that.
You look like
But Space Beth, at least, is in shape. She has to work out, and they both eat healthy enough to stay svelte. But damn it, she's only 34. Well, still, 34 versus 10 is a world of difference. Even if you don't have any major ailments in your 30s, it's not what it used to be. But at 10, you're effectively floating on air. And I just really connected with this idea.
you're in so much pain and you don't even know it.
Hilarious ads, by the way, wiki for this episode. It's also not the first time they've brought this up. Back in season 5, middle-aged Morty drops a truth bomb.
Even pooping hurts now.
So I was gonna finally show her that scene, and maybe this also relatable scene. And realized this episode absolutely rocks. So I decided to make her watch the entire thing, and wait, I should explain. A few years ago, Julia and I decided that it would be fun to have the other person watch some of our favorite things that we usually would watch separately. I love Pantheon, but Julia just isn't the biggest animated show fan in general, but I love it so much I want to be able to talk to her about it. In turn, I've also started reading some of her favorite books, and really it's just been great, because even in a medium you may not think you technically love, if the person you love most in the world has a favorite, you're probably gonna like it. Mostly. I mean, we watched Past Lives as one of hers, and that movie rocks. It's beautiful and smart, and it left me thinking about it for days, which is definitely a sign of a good piece of art. But I also hated the way it made me feel with the fire of 1,000 suns and became convinced that I was the other guy, which says more about my inferiority complex than anything about our relationship or Julia. It's just hard when the protagonist isn't the dude. Does that count? It's hard to say. Actually, it's not that hard because I deliberately subject myself to Rick Sanchez because I enjoy it. Huh. Interesting. So anyway, I decided to make this episode one of those, but with the extra caveat that I was gonna explain stuff as we went. Yeah, I'm that guy, apparently. I had no idea, but in my head, this would give me joy, and by golly, it did. And look, did Julia love it? I don't know, but she laughed at least 6 times, gasped twice, and I think there was one, oh God.
Beth, I want you to have fun, but I need to know where you're having it.
I found a possum.
Oh my God!
But she was mostly engaged, and she listened to me prattle about why the teddy bear has organs and why there are 2 Beths, why Rick's Beth is dead. Technically, she asked about the last one, and yeah, it's trivia, probably by definition, but I'd bet some amount of money that even people who've only watched the show once could answer all of those questions. I mean, the second 2 are huge plot points in entire episodes, but even the bear guts one has to be something that stuck out to everyone. Although that wasn't my favorite question from Julia, that was, so she's just a horse surgeon, not a vet? Exactly. But for me, these are just some of the things that make the show so dang great. And yeah, elephant in the room, Pickle Rick. It's got its issues. It's got its fans. I'm not jumping on McDonald's counters, but neither are the other tens of millions of other fans. Most of them are like me, and if you've made it this far into this video, probably like you. It's not our whole personality, but we also recognize that the show is smart, and that has absolutely nothing to do with pretty much anything Rick says, unless you count his comedic timing.
They look exactly like us, so in order to avoid confusion, I'm gonna mark us each with a red X right now. Hey, you didn't pay your bill! The red X! Red X!
It's also emotionally moving and deals with everything from suicide to the afterlife to the very heart of the show, why we matter. And sometimes the answer is, we don't. But the guy who claims to believe that with every fiber of his being takes actions almost every episode that are counter to that viewpoint.
Morty, where's your collar? I'll fix it.
I dropped it!
I'm okay with this. Be good, Morty. Be better than me.
But I actually want to talk about why this episode in particular is perfect. Like, it's everything I love about Rick and Morty, and while I originally had planned to further explain why the improv in early seasons is bad, hey, some of it still slaps.
Nothing wrong with just a little bit of horseplay every now and then, little fella.
Eat some shit, you stupid bitch. Just kidding.
Last thing before I dive into the episode, I ended up watching every episode again to make this video, so I'm also in the process of rating every single one, season by season as an exclusive on Nebula, and got to talk even more about some of my favorites as well as why I hate the Gazorpazorp episode. Season 1 is up there now, but I got stuff to say about almost every episode, so check it out. But what I mean when I say that it's a perfect Rick and Morty episode is that it contains every component of the show that makes me love it.
Rick, were you just drunk when you were here?
I'm drunk now.
It's first and foremost hilarious, with all different types of jokes, like callback comedy,
But nobody wants to see a Beth's adventure.
which is an insane thing to say since we had hot clone-on-clone action during the last Beth's adventure. It also has well-crafted setup punchline bits,
Hey, you can't go there like that.
visual gross-out comedy, as well as situational and timing comedy that all helps immerse us in the universe. Even some possibly improvised stuff that works.
It's so wet in here. It smells too. It smells wet.
Please, Beth, you're driving. I'm low on wanting to drive.
Even as one of those jokes that I talked about it not having.
Oh, he died in that thing, right?
9/11, yeah.
It's extremely referential, but not to pop culture in the opening, to a show that ended in 1993. That's the 1900s. It's also double meta because the Cheers theme song is also sort of a secret melancholy anthem. On its face, it's about a safe place where you can escape the troubles of your day and be around people who know you, but like, they're escaping to go drown their sorrows in alcohol. But the Beths don't hide their sadness, they're clearly unhappy, they just drown their sorrows in youth. It has thought-provoking science fiction, and that science fiction is wacky and different from most everything we've ever seen on one side, with aliens who are enamored with humans for the strangest reasons.
Keep talking. I can smell your rotting breakfast.
Oh, God.
Say something racist.
What?
Come on, you're human. It's your whole thing.
And then when they give us something we have seen before, they lampshade it in a hilarious way.
Wait, will my clothes be super huge or? Oh, no. Technology this advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
It refuses to define the morality of our characters.
Help! Oh my God! How could you?
Another thing that stood out to me while watching with Julia is that the Beths almost come off as villains if you know nothing about them.
It's worse than any explosion before it.
This is hilarious.
They're psychopaths who come close to killing both their neighbor and their dad.
She's a psycho. You're the psycho. I watched you eat a bird after you tore off his wings.
But as an episode in season 8, we know them, and we know their past trauma. We also know that it's further landing the joke set up in the ABCs of Beth back in season 3. We finally get to see that Rick was not exaggerating.
You were a scary kid, man. I didn't make Froopy Land to get rid of you, Beth. I did it to protect the neighborhood.
And not just about being crazy, she was also a genius.
Surprise! You done been got.
He needed to protect the world from Beth. And now there's 2 of them, which created the feedback loop that led to Gene's Achilles being severed and his house burning down. But by far my favorite part of this episode is the canon. And I think the episode still works without knowing any of the canon, any of the lore, especially because the Beths vaguely rehash it while trying to figure out why they need to youth their sorrows.
We can't just put it all on Dad, right? Oh, we're done with that guy. I had a bad dad.
I somewhat tested that hypothesis with Julia, but since I clarified some stuff, it's not a perfect control study. But is the ending with Rick and his clone daughters pretty straightforward? Yeah, they're sad their dad wasn't around, and it doesn't really matter why this version of him wasn't there.
Get up, or we'll leave you here. Just like you left us.
I didn't leave. My Beth died.
Yeah. Well, someone left us.
It's not even about him, it's about their pain, and I think anyone can get that. So the kids are in pain, and Rick crushes them and us by telling them the thing pretty much every adult wants to hear from their parents.
Proud.
Proud?
Proud of you.
So that's working regardless, even if we're definitely rewarded with the emotional stakes a lot more if you've been watching for over a decade. Now, throw in the history of how Rick's Beth died, which explains some of why Rick is the way he is, and realize that being closed off is part of his coping mechanism, and you can't help but feel for Rick during this scene. Then for him to give them this affirmation to them as kids, something they didn't get because their Rick did leave, and you can see and feel even more healing for all 3 of them.
Proud of you for making me old and beating the out of me.
He also probably never got to say that to his Beth, or maybe he did, but part of why we would question that is the Fruppyland episode. The same one where he reminded Beth that she was a scary kid, that she wanted anatomically correct stuffed animals, and maybe deliberately locked her friend in there until he was raping and eating his imaginary friends, and... Children, this is so messed up, huh? Oh, and also the Beths use a parent trap.
A parent trap.
You've been huffing childhood and have overdosed on fun.
That was actually my biggest takeaway after watching one episode with Julia. It is an often dark adult show. She was surprised by how gory it was, and while I wanted to be like, yeah, this one is crazy, it's pretty much just par for the course. But then, after all the giant heads have ripped innocents apart and themselves been skin-suited, we end on this beautiful scene about family that unironically puts the which one is the clone Beth conundrum to bed, which is way more fulfilling than I ever would have expected.
You're both my daughters.
And obviously it also has one of the funniest bits that had me crying with laughter the first time I saw it.
I'm not joking. Stop making me laugh. It's making me more.
And if I had to boil the episode, even the show, down to one idea, it's that. You're going to experience every possible emotion while laughing the entire time. It sounds simple, but it's not easy to pull off, and somehow this team of people behind the show do it over and over and over. They even managed to keep Rick from getting a British accent starting in season 7. Like I said earlier, I'm ranking/rating every single episode. First I was like, should I do a tier list? Should I give them an out of 10 score, or just numerically rank them in order from 91 to 1? And I think I'm gonna end up doing most of those things. I ended up having a lot more to say than I expected. It was gonna be one video, but it's looking like somewhere between 6 and 10 now. It's hard for me to watch them with a reviewer mind and not point out stuff like how Eye Patch Morty originally had a British accent.
Rescue all those Mortys outside? It would be pointless. Mortys have no chance of defeating a Rick.
Currently I've rated the first season, but I expect other seasons to be combined. We'll see. It's been fun so far. Well, I've probably ruined Rick and Morty for myself now, but content! We all love content! I'm mostly kidding. I enjoyed really trying to articulate why I do or don't like a particular episode, so if you want to see that, it's exclusively over on Nebula. It's been a minute since I talked about Nebula, so if you don't know, it's that dope streaming service I and some other fantastic creators launched dang 7 years ago. And now it's the home of some of the best exclusive content on the internets. I have a bunch of Nebula Plus videos that are companions to my YouTube videos, as well as the uncensored, ad-free, sponsor-free versions of my YouTube videos, all for 50% off an annual subscription when you use my link. It's $30 a year or $250 a month at go.nebula.tv/CinemaWins. But there's so much on there, so much that I could never talk about all of it in one video, like Maggie Mayfish's Amy's Dead End Dream House. Let's Rewind, where Cinestics talks about some of the best actors' histories and best roles, as well as all of Lindsay Ellis's videos, including her newest about something near and dear to my heart, romantasy. Boy, do I hope she isn't mean about it, Lindsay! And obviously all of my Rick and Morty episode review videos are going to be there. Start with this one. We even accept euros and pounds now. You can also still get a $500 lifetime plan for $200 off, just $300. So scan this QR code, click the video link, or copy the one in the description and sign up. You won't be disappointed.